Stuart McMillan, to be followed by Jeremy Balfour. Mr McMillan.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. I'm speaking today not as the Chair of the Delegated Powers and Law Reform Committee, but certainly as a backbench MSP. I'm delighted to be speaking in the debate, and I do want to thank colleagues from the Qualities, Human Rights and Civil Justice Committee for their helpful report. I think that the Scottish Women's Aid briefing that we all received, I thought, was tremendously helpful in this particular regard. I want to read out two of the bullet points that they highlighted. The first one is that the current process fails to recognise the barriers vulnerable people face when engaging with systems where there's a power imbalance. This is very specifically in relation to women experiencing domestic abuse who are reluctant to complain in the first instance. And the second of the points is that professional bodies' role in complaint handling carried out in tandem with their role as representative bodies for their respective professions has not instilled confidence in consumers around the independence of the process. These two particular points, particularly the second one, actually are part of the backdrop to my considerations on this bill, and that's with regards to the situation with McClure's Solicitors and their collapse in 2021. And as the Chamber will know, I've highlighted this in the Chamber before. And as I have my own members' debate on this issue next Tuesday, I'll be focused on my comments today because I'll say more on Tuesday. But ultimately, I've never had a single issue which has taken up so much of my time and also the time of my staff. Over 300 constituents have been in contact with many others from across Scotland and also in England. They've been in touch with my office, and my staff have obviously referred them to contact their own MSP or MP. And the two public meetings that I hosted have had over 260 people in attendance. And I want to put on record my thanks to the Scottish Legal Complaints Commission, the SLCC, for supporting both of those events and for having the direct engagements with my constituents. And under the current legal framework that we have, what the SLCC can do is limited. And that was clear by some of the answers that Neil Stevenson, the Chief Executive Officer of the SLCC, had to provide. However, the current bill that we are discussing is an opportunity to actually improve that process. And currently, the SLCC can only be responsive and not proactive. They're also limited in taking on group issues, and this, I appreciate, would always be hugely complicated as every case is different. However, there will undoubtedly be some common issues that, if taken as a group complaint, they could deal with them, more complaints, in a shorter time frame. And the comments from the SLCC briefing highlighted why this bill is needed and why it's hugely important, Presiding Officer. And they say the proposals in the bill to reform the complaint system seek to reduce complexity and prescription and to increase flexibility. This will help to drive efficiency and proportionality as far as possible within the current model. They also say later in their briefing, we believe this bill will create a complaint system closer to the public, the profession and the Parliament's expectations of an appropriate system for delivering consumer redress and administrative justice. Now, I welcome these comments and I hope that they are considered by colleagues from across the Chamber today. However, if someone needs to put a complaint to the SLCC, that indicates to me that there may have been a problem with the legal process beforehand. It's something that Mr Swinney touched upon earlier and also Michelle Thompson. So it's right to consider the overarching question of legal regulation in the whole system. And I know from my constituents that there's a great deal of frustration and anger with the Law Society of Scotland because of the events that I have articulated earlier. And the question of industry regulation certainly hasn't convinced many people, irrespective of what happens in this bill. And I know that there will be considerable interest and also proposed changes and amendments to the bill, certainly at stage 2. However, I do welcome the comments from the Law Society of Scotland when they describe the bill as, and I quote, an important opportunity to introduce major and long overdue regulatory changes in the public interest for the benefit of consumers and those working within the sector. Now, the Minister is aware that I've called for an inquiry into the events of what happened at McClure Solicitors. Now, I don't believe an inquiry now would be of any assistance at all, but in fact would only delay and hinder people getting the legal paperwork amended. Now, with the two public meetings I've hosted and with the discussions I've had with constituents and lawyers, there's a unanimous view of my position. Now, the reason why a future inquiry will be important is clear. Whatever legislation we hopefully pass during this bill's process, I'm under absolutely no illusion that an independent inquiry will no doubt make suggestions for further regulatory changes. And I would hope that we can all agree across the Chamber that we want the legal profession and the complaints process to be at the highest quality, and that consumer protection is at its heart. And the bill in front of us makes progress in that journey. But I am under no illusion that it will not be the end of the journey. But I will be supporting the bill at stage 1 and certainly look forward to going through the parliamentary process. Thank you.